Today I'm going to walk through the Manage General Settings area within the Client Tools of the Tools and Settings. When you open the Manage General Settings, you're going to see the Preferences tab. So these are going to be the just general settings for this particular client. First we're going to have the default entry page. This is really controlled by each user, so this doesn't take effect. The Session Display Mode is going to be how the items are displayed on the tracking tab. So we currently have it selected for last 24 hours, so only any devices that are reported within the last 24 hours are going to be displayed. If we change that to show last active session, then we're going to see any device that has reported at any time, and it'll show that it's been, say, 10 days or whatever the time frame is, rather than just the last 24 hours. Okay. The Show All Items will show every single item that's been added, whether they've actually reported or not. Support email address is where we can configure what email that alerts, reports, and such are going to be sent from. The support phone number and help URL are going to show up in the dashboard under the help section. Allow multiple logins. Allows the same user to be able to log in more than once. If we set this to no, then you need to be careful to use the logout button when you're completed with your session, because if not, then you need to wait about 10 minutes for the user to refresh if you just close the browser. Okay, the message refresh interval, this is going to be the time that the alert messages update within the platform. Inactivity timeout is currently set to 0, so there is going to be no timeout within this client, so the user can stay logged in as long as they like. Play MDT sound, this is going to be for the mobile terminal messaging, so if a new message comes in to the platform here, then it'll play a sound. Auto assign geofences, when creating a new geofence, this will add an extra option to allow to configure to one or multiple groups. This will also, when selected, assign that new geofence to every item within that particular group that's selected. The POI buffer, this is the default value if no other buffer value is entered when creating a new point of interest item. And you can see our language is set to English. The Captions tab, these are labels within the platform. So we can change these to whatever is required for the customer. Map images, we can change the way that the positional messages are displayed on the map. So we can change these so that the first positional image, moving position, all can be represented by different icons. And by selecting yes on the Use Vehicle Icon status, then as the status of the device changes, then we can use these different icons. If it's set to no, we're just going to show the actual icon that was selected for that particular item. The Use Geofence icon will allow the icon to change when a device is within a geofence area. The map options, this is going to be the default trace line color for when creating new items in the platform. The map refresh interval is going to be the time period that the map automatically refreshes. This can be changed to any value that's needed. History playback speed, when viewing a historical playback, this is going to show 1 point per second. So if we change it to 10 seconds, it's going to show 1 point for every 10 seconds. Display minimap. This is going to allow us to see the little minimap in the lower right-hand corner of the tracking page. Use large units configuration of track. If the particular client has more than 100 units in their platform, then we can limit the number that's displayed within the tracking page by selecting yes. The default view mode, this is going to be the default map view, so we've chosen hybrid here. The next options here are, let's see, the session label, landmark show label, geofence show label, show temperature, speed, alert. These are all different options that can be enabled to show on the tracking map with each item's label. So it'll append this information to the end of the unit name. Display trace line in the historical view under tracking. This allows the points to be connected with the trace line. Numbering positioning. This is a depreciated item for the original tracking page, so it no longer applies. Display temperature, battery voltage, fuel level, auxiliary information, vehicle status are all options that can be enabled or disabled within the item pop-up. So when you select an item on the map, the pop-up that's displayed, you can turn on and off these options. Display progress on track map. This is a depreciated item as well. Display ignition status, altitude, heading are also part of the item pop-up. Show map full screen. The left-hand panel can be collapsed if you click the little tab to push it to the left. This is what we consider full screen. So if you choose yes when the tracking tab is opened, then you will not see the left panel. You would have to open it manually. Show map history trail. This is going to allow, as you're viewing a historical playback, to see the points, the breadcrumbs trails basically, be left behind the progress as the playback is progressing. If you set this to no, the history playback is only going to show the current location during that playback. Display satellite message indicator. This is only used when using satellite devices. Lock map. If set to yes, by default the lock map feature will be enabled in the tracking page. Default country USA. Display history pop-up simple. If we set this to yes, then and you select a point on the map during a historical playback, it will show a very simple pop-up, not the full pop-up that we see on the main track page. The show geofence filter and show POI filter, these are just new features that are able to turn on or off these filters within the filter section of the tracking page. And then finally at the bottom, the Google Map view, we can enable or disable different Google Map features. The display format tab, we can change the units of measure as well as the time formats for the entire client here.